Hello, I'm Paul Smyth. I'm going to play a few tunes, just maybe to promote my new CD, which is just released July 2015 now. The first tune is a single jig, and it comes from the playing of a flute player from Woodford, Tommy Gaffey, an influential flute player from that part of the country. I'll go on then with a reel from another flute player. That one is called Hughie Travers, and I'll finish up with another reel which is a version of The Morning Dew.
So Paul, was Hughie Travers from the same area?
Hughie Travers would have been Leitrim man.
Oh, I see.
And one of those people that emigrated to the States and ended up in the police force, from what I know.
Lovely.
And John Regan told me one time that he used to direct the traffic with his flute, but I'm not sure about that.
And beat sense into people as well. Shoot away, Paul. Beautiful, Paul. Beautiful playing. We've known you in the shop here for a fair lot of years, and you're known in Ennis as the miracle worker who gives sight to people apart from your flute playing. Where are you from originally, Paul?
From Mayo, a little village in East Mayo. Cill Mobhi is the name of it.
Cill Mobhi.
Yeah.
And your flute playing, was it an area of famous flute players, or did it?
Very much so, yeah. I would have grown up listening to, particularly, I suppose, Peter Horn. Would have been in our house many times, and would have played with Peter in later years, if you want. Fred Finn would have been in the house. My uncle Mick was a big influence as well, a fiddle player, Mick Smith, and my uncle TJ played. And of course my dad then was a school teacher, and he was very passionate about the music and would have taught a lot of
Lovely.
locals up around there.
And a fine fiddle player in his day before fate
Yes.
kind of intervened.
Yes, he had a little accident on a finger and it
Alright.
curved his fiddle playing a little bit.
Right.
Would have played a lot of tunes with a man called Dermot Grogan as well, an accordion player, and I suppose Dermot would have been a fair big influence on my playing.
Great. Okay. Now, I was talking to you earlier, you said you seem to be attracted to a style of playing that's very specific to maybe the East Galway, Woodford area. What would have attracted you to that? What kind of qualities does appeals to you in that kind of playing?
Maybe hard to put your finger on what it is exactly, but it would catch your ear the minute you'd hear, the likes of Mike Rafferty, the Cohens, that man Tommy Gaffey, that style of playing. I suppose you could maybe describe it as a relatively simple style of playing music, but just really nice, very melodic. And any time I've come across the music from that area, it's kind of fascinated me, and to the extent that the new CD would feature some tunes from around there, some old tunes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've ensconced now in East Clare in Killaloo for the last while. That seems to be your...
Well, not quite. I'm across the bridge.
All right. So what's the postal code? Is it Clare or is it Tipperary?
Well, I suppose when it comes to sports, I'd still support Mayo in the football, but my children now would be very ardent Tipperary supporters. And,
I see. They're across the river from Killaloo then?
Yeah, we're about 2 or 3 miles outside the village of Ballina.
Right.
Now, I tend to say we live near Killaloo because it's the well-known brand, I suppose. If
Sure.
you say Ballina, probably people might think it's Mayo.
I know
or
Ballina
not.
Mayo,
Yeah.
right. And you've had a session there for a lot of years in a pub, Liam's pub, Liam.
Liam O'Rian's pub every Tuesday night. None of us are quite sure, but we think that this autumn it'll be 10 years of our session going every Tuesday
Lovely.
night there. So yeah, it's going great.
And there was a compilation album out a while back too called Live at Liam's. It was done for charity. You were involved in that, were you?
That's right. I was kind of pulled that together. I was owed a couple of favours by a few different people, so pulled them all in, and we managed to make 1,000 copies of a CD from various artists that had been at the sessions over the
Lovely.
years, and sold most of them and made a nice bit of money for Crumlin
Oh,
Children's
lovely.
Hospital.
Well
So
done.
good old project, yeah.
Right. And the last album you put out was a fair while ago now. It was in 2003, was it?
That's right, yeah.
What title was that?
Up and Away was the first one I had.
Up and
out,
Away.
yeah.
And this new one is untitled.
Simply called Paul Smyth.
Any logic in that?
Well, there's a tune on there called The Limerick Road, and that was a kind of a leading contender for a while that we'd called the CD Limerick Road. But I think the visual of the cover of the CD seemed to work very nicely with just a simple...
Yeah. It's very impressive in its minimalism, but it's really powerful. So what thought, was it your thought that went into that, or did you get advice from gurus?
I had a good man on hand there, a friend of mine, a fiddle player from the UK, and he's also a photographer, a man by the name of Ben Taylor.
All right.
So worked closely with Ben on that one. And,
Sure.
yeah, he was great to work with.
That's great. Listen, Paul, thanks for coming in today. I kind of grabbed you out of the blue, so I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Not a bother.
Okay, thanks very much,
Thanks,
and
John.
good luck with your album.
Cheers.